Good morning.
Good morning.
It smells so good in here. Are you baking? Are
yes.
you baking? Oh,
well,
God.
you will see. It's all part of my person that I'm talking about. But we'll find that out. But hey, I see that you're sporting this awesome looking T-shirt.
Yeah,
you're rocking it.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired.
You've got these jeans and super
I
cute.
went to a concert last night. My daughter took me to a concert at the Neptune in Seattle.
Oh, and I've never been to the Neptune.
Oh my God, I loved it. And I'll tell you why, because I got to sit at the bar and watch the show. Mm-hmm. They have like an upstairs balcony where you can sit, but the floors were kind of wonky and steep. And then downstairs you can stand on the floor. Sometimes they have seating there. I don't know. It's my first time. Mm-hmm. And then, but I sat on a stool similar to this with no back though.
Oh, that would be more uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was a wee bit uncomfortable, but it was better than standing for so long. Anyway, my daughter bought me tickets to Lucas Graham. Can you see my shirt?
Way to go, Piper!
And now she bought me a T-shirt. It was my Christmas gift. It was such a great gift.
Fun. So who is he?
He's a Danish singer. And, he has a band. That's not his real name, the last name, Graham. I think that's just the name of the band.
Danish names are long and hard to pronounce,
it looks very challenging. I don't even want to attempt it. So anyway, we went and saw him last night, and it was so remarkable.
Oh, I bet.
He just opened his mouth, and it was like, he just sang, like, it was so crystal clear, and it was like, you know how you listen to albums? I've listened to his albums a bunch, and then all of a sudden you see him before you, and he just opens his mouth, and it sounds exactly the same.
Yeah,
you know, it is incredible. The
well,
sound.
because you're like, because some use a lot of different like auto tune and different stuff like that, and then you're like, oh, this is what they sound like live.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know who he was. I actually, at first, I'm like, who's Luca? And then she's like, Lucas, sorry. I'm saying Luca. Lucas. I'm like, play me a song. And then you played it, and that's at 70 years old, you know, da-da-da, mom's gonna da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's really good.
And then I'm like, oh, I know who he is. So now I got to go back and it inspired me to go ahead and listen to his music because I like that song.
I love it.
And I didn't realize he was so young. I was like, I thought it was an older person.
No,
but
he's I think he's in his early 30s, and he's married and has 2 children.
Aw, he's a cutie.
He is. He's very handsome, and he's good to sing. His songs are so good to sing along. I was talking to someone about that, like, that must be because he also got sick last night, so he was going to cancel, but he decided not to.
He looked great. He decided
not to, and he couldn't reach all the things that he wanted to reach, so he was disappointed in himself, and he expressed it and said, Seattle, I'll be back and show you my range, because his range is amazing.
That must have been. I can only imagine as an artist how that would be.
So driving here, that made me think, wow, what's it like for whether it's a sports person or an artist that has one specific thing that they do.
Skill set,
and then what if that's taken away from you? I mean, it's good to be diverse, I think. Yeah. That makes me really feel that.
Then it pushes you to find that next thing.
That's right. That's right. Because, But anyway, great show. I can't recommend this guy enough. Hopefully he'll be back this year in September, I think, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got the tour
check it out.
this year on my back. The Pacific.
It shows all the...
it
shows all the little names and all that. That's fun.
Yeah, he's a natural entertainer, and that's what makes it.
You gotta love that. And then also being with your daughter.
Yeah, that was...
So that's another bonus. And then just having that mother-daughter time.
We met some lady, too, that was cool. Her name was Lisa, and she was sitting next to us, or we were on the bar stools, sitting there. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was so neat that she came to the concert by herself.
Oh, wow.
I mean, she inspired me.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
because you always kind of feel a little uncomfortable.
Right, but...
I mean, I'm trying to get better at that, doing things because I want to do it and just I don't need to have somebody with me. But it's always fun when you have someone with you.
It is more fun when you have someone. But sometimes someone can't make it to go with you. So anyway, that was my night last night. So I am recovering and drinking my coffee.
Yeah, I don't have an excuse. I'm just the sinus doom and gloom. So I will be getting into. Well, it's nicer out today. Yeah, we had snow the other day, and then someone said it snowed like 5 inches down in Olympia.
That's amazing. We're in the Pacific Northwest, and
change weather I've had. It's just very.
But it is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love the Northwest.
I can't imagine. Even if I got to travel a lot, I'd still want this as my base. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's like I would like to do like during the cold time, go off somewhere.
So
and
would
come
I.
back,
Let's go, Cheryl.
And,
where do you want to go?
Oh, I
do you want to go to like Portugal or you want to go different places? Okay.
Oh yeah, anywhere. I mean, here in the U.S., out of the U.S. I got so many places I'd love to go, but I need to start.
I'm semi-retired. I mean, I still work a little bit, but I can retire, and just let's do.
Yeah, no, that would be great.
That would be great. Okay, that's a future thing.
All right, it's the date. All right.
Oh, so that's Cheryl Ann Chapman. I'm irisforcier. We're on Coffee and a Podcast, and if you wonder what our podcast is about, we talk about stories about people who have done remarkable things in their life, who've overcome obstacles, or who are inspirational to others, or maybe they've been inventors, astronauts, musicians, sports players, normal people. I mean, not saying that those aren't normal people, because they are normal people
that are not. I mean, people that are not known, well known,
exactly.
Like the ones that
there's always
focused on. There's gonna be under the radar people.
Yes, I love that.
Under the radar,
great.
Yeah. So and it's very exciting because I'm learning. It feels like I have a history lesson every time,
every week,
and it's I know, but it's exciting. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that about that. And
it's a lot of work. We're doing our homework.
And she's so organized. I'm getting there. She's got a little binder. She's got everything laid out. So
I've got these little sticky
that's
tabs.
why we're different. And so it works out great. The way our friendship is. But
episode 6 today. And where's your sources? So you're doing.
First, before I tell you, so the best part of the 70s was for me growing up.
What?
I'm gonna show you guys.
Okay. Oh my God! Is that what smells so good?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a surprise! Oh my God!
Colonel and I.
So
and actually, there's a couple pieces up here that I did warm up last night. But the smell that she was saying, God, it smells so great in here.
Oh my God!
So if you want some chicken while we're talking, these ones I just put in, baked in, so hopefully they're hot enough. I got it last night. So this was the best part of growing up. Now I had 4 brothers.
Okay.
That I had to compete against.
Yeah.
And this is the small bucket. So we used to get the huge buckets, and we would fight like who would get the thigh, who would get the the leg. Yeah. And I had to compete about 4 brothers. So I'm just like that's why I'm kind of competitive. Because I had to fight, and then you got my dad and my mom in there, but so we always used to think, gosh, this is such a treat. And then later,
I don't think they can see it.
There we go. The Colonel.
Look at this. She has a bucket of chicken,
and it's warm. So that's the cold, and then I just warmed that up. So I might actually grab a bite of that
Kentucky
Fried Chicken, and that's Colonel Sanders, and that's who we're going to be talking about.
That's amazing.
So we used to anywhere you want.
Out of my reach, so I don't try to start eating it.
This is him.
Okay.
So the funny thing is I thought growing up that they went and got us
it's cute.
Like spent some money on us and got us the Kentucky Fried Chicken, right?
Yeah.
But
I grew up
you know what it was? It was because they had those big 18-piece buckets, and then you got the mashed potatoes, and I loved the corn on the cob and the biscuits. So
I loved it all too.
It was very economical.
Very
so
good.
It was a fast thing that could feed a lot of hungry kids.
Yeah.
Finger looking good. So
I am just so
I wanted to surprise you. So I thought, sometimes
you were baking Kentucky
I was
Fried
baking Kentucky Fried Chicken. We're warming it up. So that's my fun memory.
That's so
and
cool.
So to this day, I still think of that. So he is the second recognized person in the industry for, McDonald's being number one,
right?
For being who he is, what they created. And it's kind of funny that they have the older image of him on this bucket.
Yeah.
His newer logo,
right,
is like just doesn't have all this extra in there. We'll tell you how it got about this look.
Okay.
But yeah, so they went back to the classic look. So
I like the classic.
The reason why he did his in red was because he wanted it to be warming. Red is warming and love and caring. He was he was a caring guy. And then there's opposition, and I'll tell you who my sources are here in a minute.
Okay.
Opposition that he was kind of a cranky guy too. Kind of a sailor.
Curmudgeon, huh?
Yeah. So, but we'll explain why he got to be that way.
Okay.
So my sources are Snagajob, Christopher Klein, and then the famous business leaders. So he was born in 1890.
Wow.
So if you can imagine, put yourself back before 1900s.
I am.
And he had a brother and a sister, and then his dad dies when he's 6. Wow. So he becomes instantly a man of the house. Yeah. So he has to start cooking, and that's where this starts. Cooking for the family, helping out along the way, doing everything he can to help support this family. The good thing, it was a smaller family, but still he has to support the family. He did have 2 wives. I do have their names somewhere, but there's not a lot on them per se that I can find out. So, and even when I have some sources a little bit contradict themselves, and they say they got the real story. So the basic outline of what I have is good. Just I'll explain the ones that are kind of maybe questionable.
Okay.
So he's becomes man of the house.
What's his name?
Oh yeah, sorry. He's not just Colonel Sanders. He does have a real name. It is Harlan Sanders, and his middle name is I got so excited, and the smell of the chicken just took me
very distracted by the chicken.
I know. I'm going to end up biting into a piece before we. Harlan David Sanders.
Harlan David Sanders? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just kidding.
And no. And he was born in Henryville, Indiana.
Okay.
And he does end up going into Kentucky, where Kentucky Fried Chicken, that's how that comes in about.
Okay.
So he did have 3 children. He had Harlan Sanders Jr., Mildred Sanders, Rudless, and then Margaret Sanders. Okay. And then he did have 2 spouses. I will say their names are Claudia Price. He was married from 1949 to 1980. That was the later one. Okay. And then Josephine King from 1909 to 1947. Okay. So
19 what? When did he marry?
1947. So he was married for Josephine from 1909 to 1947, and then
so he was
2 years later.
Years old. Okay.
Yeah, okay. And then he was married until his death, actually, because he died in 1980. So
wow.
So he lived 90 years.
That's remarkable.
Amazing. Remarkable. And it's really cool. His story is inspirational, and you guys will understand why, because he wasn't instantly into like fame and all of this. This came at actually age 65.
Well, it's not too late for us.
Yeah, not too late for us at all. So
this.
So he, in 7th grade, there's some controversy whether he dropped out or not. This is one of them, but it says through most of it that he dropped out because, he was doing the farming. He was, helping out on farms, and he was trying to help out the family. Yeah. And so you can understand that that's where he started getting to be like a tough cookie. He had to be tough. Yeah. He had to take over at a young age and become a mini man. Yeah. So at 16, mini man. 16, he faked his ID, his age, not his ID, but faked his age to be able to get into the army.
We did that just to get into the nightclubs. Hint, hint.
Oh yeah. Back in the day. But he went into the Army, and he was only there for a year, and they must have found out that, hey, you know, you're not the age you should be, and they honorably discharged him. But he did get to go to like Cuba and different places.
Wow.
But he was only in the Army for a year.
So he was only 16.
He was only 16, and so I don't know how he made himself look like he was older, because he had to be 18, right?
He might have that look. My husband kind of has that look when he was younger.
That's true.
He had a beard.
That's true.
And stuff.
That's very true. And so then right after that, he was discharged. He started working the railway. And this is where not 100%, but it does sound like he had that strong, like, persnickety kind of spirit.
Yeah.
He got into fights.
Oh.
And so whatever happened, he was fired from the railroad. Yeah. And then he starts studying law.
Interesting.
Gets into some more little headbutting and that.
Wow.
Let go from that. Then he's forced to move into his mom's, and he starts selling insurance, you know, because now he's like, okay, what am I going to do? I don't have any money. I keep getting fired.
What was he about then?
And that was before, he's got to be in his
20s.
late teens, early 20s.
Okay.
Because then...
He's still young. Okay.
Yeah, because then in 1920, he actually founded a ferry boat company.
Wow, he would have been 30 by then.
So, so then this would have been his late 20s. Yeah, I was going to go do the math and didn't do the math because because she's great at math.
I'm not.
And he founded it, and so what he was going to do is he was going to cash out the ferry boat business, and then he was going to go into being having a lamp manufacturing business. But then he found out that there was someone that was already doing that and doing it better.
What an entrepreneur.
So
wow.
What I was going to read, because at the beginning, and I got carried away with the smell of chicken, it says that, have you ever been rejected? This is from the one Snag a Job. Have you ever been rejected or disappointed time and time again? Well, Colonel Harlan Sanders, founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, did. But he took his failures and didn't just make lemonade. He made the world a better place. Oh. So that's what we're talking about. Yeah. He could have given up. He didn't. He's like, nope, okay, now what? His philosophy was always like, okay, that's over. Now what am I going to do?
Exactly. I like that.
Very driven. So at the age of 40, so obviously he gets married. They decide, probably because of he wants to start in a new place, you know, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And
so familiar.
Yeah, you know, you pick up and go because you're like, okay, maybe I've outworn my welcome, and you go into a different city.
Sure, reinvention.
And reinvent yourself, exactly. And you get, because that's where you get more courage and confidence by doing that. Yeah. So he starts running a service station in Kentucky Fried Chicken. And then, you know, of course, service station, you're getting people coming and going, gas, and you get travelers. Mm-hmm. Well, he starts feeding them. And it's even said that he would even seat people around his table, because now he's, you know, just cooking more. Yeah. He would seat people around his own dining room table. Right. And he would feed these people, these weary travelers, which is awesome. So he does have a heart.
So real.
He just gets, you know, I'm going to read over later the 8 things you didn't know, that was by Christopher Klein, did his report. Okay. And it talks about him being a little spitey. But, you know, you got to be... that spirit, you gotta have that to survive. So you get in deep, and you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right.
So what he decided to do was he decided he wanted to do a restaurant, a little cafe. Mm-hmm. So he went across the street, and that is still standing. That gas station and his is still standing.
I'd like to go see.
So I would love to go see that. So they have a museum. Okay. So that's where he perfected his 11 herb and spice recipe for his chicken. Okay. It was at that little restaurant.
11.
I know. And it is a heavily guarded secret today.
And do you know where he got that recipe from?
He worked with Pete Harmon. And that was the first person that did he started the franchise with. But before that, in 1930, he got to that's when the pressure cookers were out.
Okay.
And he was playing around with it, and he's like, "Hey, I wonder if we could use this for doing chicken."
Yeah.
Because, Kentucky is famous for their chicken. So he's like, "Hey, let's try that." And that's how that was born. And they actually say that they still use that process today of the pressure cookers for
their chicken.
So
what about his mom? Was his mom any inspiration for the spices? I thought
it doesn't talk about that, but I need to find I did find too late in the thing that there is another book out there.
Okay.
So maybe we can do like an update on Colonel Sanders.
Sure.
But I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he's cooking.
Yeah.
And the mom probably was influenced in there with him, and he just started cooking at such a young age. It's a great question. A great question. So, so they still use that today. So, and I will scroll back and forth. I got some other little things I didn't have a chance to get it all together because I was too focused on. I have a new phone.
The new phone. We both have new phones, and we still
we got the new S24 Samsung
Ultra,
with
a little
and
tool that I know
been a
not
little
how
bit
to use.
I know, been a little distracted with that.
Yeah,
so we just got that yesterday.
New technology.
Oh, I know. So I didn't get a chance to get that all typed up. But he decided that everybody was loving his food, and he's like, why don't I start a franchise? So he started it with this guy, Pete Harmon. Okay. And the very first one was in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Which is quite far from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you get from Kentucky to Utah?
Very good question.
And you're in
I'm going to have to write these down.
You're in the 50 or 40s?
1952.
Yeah, imagine you're getting in your old Studebaker or whatever they were driving.
Exactly.
Driving from Kentucky to
I'm going to see if it talks about why.
And what made you think of opening your first franchise? I mean, was there a lot of people around that wanted fried chicken or chicken? Or?
Well, from what I understand, he was becoming quite the hubbub. And so he decided, probably because can you Google really quick? When did McDonald's start?
I will. In fact, we might do that on an episode because that's a good story too.
Yeah, McDonald's is a great story.
And I could show up with a Big Mac or a cheese.
I'm gonna grab this is the original. I had to get half and half because it's so popular. They only have a half and half.
1940, May 15th. In San Bernardino, California.
This is
we'll have to cover that.
Too bad you guys didn't have smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision.
Yeah, that is so good.
I'm not going to eat right now because
just reminds me.
But I haven't had afterwards.
You had a great breakfast.
Yeah, I had such a big.
Her husband made her a wonderful breakfast. Yeah. I was like, what?
I'm spoiled. I am spoiled.
And I haven't eaten yet, so because I wanted to eat some chicken.
I love it. I love chicken.
So I'm sure that's where he got the idea. Since McDonald's is already out,
right?
Let's do chicken.
That makes sense.
It just makes sense to me.
Diverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So I'm going to scroll over.
Yes.
And as I usually do. So it says in 1952, he began the chicken, franchise business. And then, so I see, it had the southern region specialty. But let me see. So he, when a new interstate reduced traffic to his own restaurant in, well, now that says in North Carolina, but I thought it was in Kentucky. He sold the locations. It does scat around like I'm talking about. It does scat. So, but it wasn't only that gentleman. There was another gentleman that invested with it as well. Okay. And his name is, where'd it go? Because the cool thing is that he did, I'm going to scroll for a second. He did stay on when he did sell his business in 1966.
Sure. Quite common.
He was very, very, this is probably where he gets the rep of being very he was very passionate about his food. So he would travel, they said, like 250 1,000 miles a year, and he'd go to all these different locations.
Well, that's what they did
and
back then.
He wanted to make sure that pest control. I mean, like he would make sure everything was done the way it wasn't what was supposed to be, and if it wasn't, he would get very, very upset because this is his name, his face. I mean,
quality control.
This is him. So it you know. And then he wants to make sure that he's got his face out there.
There are some big corporations that do that even today.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't suspect, but I know.
Well, that
for
do
sure. Go to their places like that.
Well, you have to make sure. That everything, and this still tastes as good as I remember. Really? I mean, I haven't had it for a while. So, and I forget, because ours is hidden here and where we're at, it's hidden in a little area.
Yeah.
And she goes, I don't know what it was about today.
Did you get the potatoes?
No, I didn't because
sorry.
I figured I could make those at home.
Okay.
But I was, and it was later in the day.
Yeah.
So after like at 8:30, so I'm like, the chicken will still be like, this was like they just made dispatch. Yeah. So I wasn't sure on the other stuff. So I'm particular about, the taste as well, like right with Mr. Colonel Sanders. But anyway, squirrel it off. So, he was in it with another person, and the gentleman's name is in here somewhere. I want to say the last name was, he's a Virgo, if anybody wants to know.
Harland?
Yeah, Harland. I like that name, Harland.
I do too.
I wish they'd bring that name back.
I do too.
They probably
bring it back.
Bring it back, Harland. I like
Harland.
That. He was a Virgo. If anybody's checking into that.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, that's probably understandable. But, because I really do think when you're born, the year you're born.
Yeah, they didn't call it astrology. They call it something else.
Yeah.
It's a chart for everything, for everyone who wants to believe in something.
Exactly. Well, I have too many notes in front of me, and I can't find the other guy's name. It's probably in here.
You come across it, and we'll blurt it out.
But exactly. So, he was very, very successful. And did I say it took him like 9 years to perfect his recipe?
That's wonderful.
So he worked it until the crowd's like, oh, you got it. This is just perfect.
He was a master at his craft.
Yeah. So how the Colonel name, you're like, why is he named Colonel? He was only in the military for a year and he was honorably discharged. So how did that come up? So he actually, he received in 1935, he received an honorary colonel's title from the governor of Kentucky. He perfected his, that's when he perfected his finger-licking good chicken in 1939. But she was so like gobsmacked, whatever you want to say about this person, that she called him Colonel. And what he ended up doing was, when he was called Colonel, now he made the goatee. Back in the day, he would, they said he would dye his goatee and his mustache to blend in. And then he wore the white because the white, you could easily have powder and stuff like that on it and not look like you're dirty.
Oh, nice.
And so he's like, if I'm going to be called the Colonel, I got to look more like the Colonel. So, that's where his image changed.
Wow, that's cool.
And
great.
Then you get the little bow tie and all in white, so that's how he became the Colonel. So he's like performing a play in a way,
Sure,
like
we all do
becoming
that
acting
with our jobs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
embrace.
Exactly, and their like I said, their logo has only changed in font, and then they just refined and softened the picture of him.
Nice,
made it more modernized, which. I had one that you can kind of see in this shot. Can you see how it's kind of modernized? It's taken out.
Oh, it's a little too modernized. It's a little.
It makes it. Yeah, it takes it. I wish they would have done
sci-fi. It makes him look like he was in a sci-fi movie.
This is true. So that's. But otherwise, it's always stood the same way. They're very passionate about that.
Love it.
But. The fun things I found out from Christopher Klein in his little 8 things you may not know about the real Colonel Sanders.
Okay.
Is we already talked about the one where he was running the gas station, then he ended up opening up his restaurant.
Yeah.
But what food critic Duncan Hines included the restaurant in his 1935 road food guide, which was very, very cool. So you can see, so if there's a food critic and they really, really are enjoying him, the word got out.
Nice.
But I'm not going to talk about this one because I don't know if this one's really true. But he says he's fact checked. There was a business rivalry with his business, and a shootout happened, and
the guy died.
So we're not going to go over to that one because I just don't quite know sure. But he did say that he delivered babies.
He delivered
also
babies?
When he was helping out. So he's trying to get all these odd jobs and helping out wherever he could, and then the first franchise. But where was it that? So he decided. So he at 65, he decides he's going to go ahead and sell his franchise, which I don't know why. It doesn't talk about why he didn't hang on to it longer.
Yeah.
So he actually sold it, but some parts say that he sold majority of it and held on to a little bit of it.
Sure.
But he sold it for $2 million, which would be almost equivalent to $19 million back in the day.
Right. In today's money.
So, and he had it in there that he would take home a salary of anywhere was like $40,000 to $60,000 a year.
Okay.
And that he would be paid out like up to $2 million over his lifetime, because
not much.
Yeah, I mean, but back then that was a lot of money. Yeah. So he lived a good life, and they said he was charitable, that he did like to donate to charity.
That's nice.
But this was the kicker thing that I was just like crazy about. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. I'll skip this one over. It says that he swore like a sailor. So he was very passionate.
Wow.
But he said that no one was ever offended, and he swore in such a way that kind of wiggled out of it, like.
Interesting.
So none of the ladies ever were offended, so he says, but maybe they didn't speak out.
They probably didn't speak out.
But he was very, very passionate, so that's where that all came out. They said he supposedly cursed the Japanese baseball team.
Oh.
Because they took his one of his statue things and they dumped it in the water, in the river.
Yeah.
And so he's like, how could you do that to me? And so he cursed them, and to that day they could never win anything. And even when they took this, like Colonel went in there and got his statue back out, they still were not winning. So that's kind of crazy. Those are kind of crazy ones.
That's very cool.
But because he's like, how dare you throw me in the water?
That's
Come
funny.
on, people. I'm gonna curse you for doing that. So they used the word hex, but I just like he cursed them out. So and you can mentally do that. If you think you're hexed, you're gonna so it could have been all like talk and the whole bit. But the thing that I thought was crazy was that 1966, Kentucky Fried Chicken was listed on the New York Stock Exchange in 1969. So there was more than 3,500 franchises and company-owned restaurants worldwide, and those were operation by, I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name.
Hugh Blaine?
Yeah, that acquired Kentucky Fried Chicken in 1971 for 1971. Think back. Okay. 1971 for $285 million.
Holy cow.
That's back in 1971, but this is what I want to get to.
Wow.
So it became a subsidiary of J.R. Reynolds Industries. Mm-hmm. Now it's called JRJ Nabisco Incorporated. Yeah. Then when the Hodgkin, whatever, was acquired by Reynolds in 1982, then it was acquired in October of 86 by Nabisco, which is also Pepsi-Cola. And it was acquired back in 1986 for guess how much?
How much?
It's a mind blow, because if you do the calculation
of what
today,
it would be now,
$840 million.
So Harlan didn't get all this money?
No, this is where it's sad.
Yeah.
So, and his heirs didn't get rich. The son did. The son did follow in his footsteps, and he did work like in advertising, and he did work all of that part with his father. The other two did. One was a house. Mildred was a house, a mom.
Yeah.
Housewife, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And the other one, she became a nurse, which, but just the son followed in his footsteps. Yes. But that's where, that's a sad thing. I mean, he did do really well. He did really well while he was alive.
Right.
But it just goes to show you how this brand just became so
bigger than himself.
Yeah. And it's going to go on.
Nice.
It's in.
He left a legacy of.
Do what?
He left a legacy of.
Oh yeah, because it's in, and oh my goodness, did I not print that one out? This thing is in like, it's in 48 countries.
Yeah.
No, now in 118 countries. Sorry. So back then, by 2013, it was estimated there was 18,000 Kentucky Fried Chickens.
Wow.
And in 118 countries.
That's awesome.
And it all started, my friends, with this chicken. With him.
So cute.
Wanting to help people out sorry, I'm eating while I'm talking, yes. Big no-no. But he wanted to help people out. Mm-hmm. He wanted to have those weary travelers, have a good home-cooked meal.
That's amazing.
65 people.
It's a great story.
At the age of 65.
Yeah.
Oh, the inspiration for the story?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So again, no choking on air. My brother Christopher, thank you. We were talking about inspiring people, and he's like, "Man, did you know that?" He was saying, "There's still hope for you, sis." That Harlan David Sanders, he started in 1960. Or he started when he was 65.
Well, didn't he sold his business at 65? Right?
But he started. That's when at his age of 65, he was
really making it.
He would have been right before then, because at 65, he's 65, and then you add 10 more years. He would have been 75.
Right.
But he started in 65 when he was 65. So that would have been back in 1955. Well, 52 when he started his opening his own franchise. But you are correct. Yeah, he did. It went out big time at 65. So
awesome.
So it's never too late.
That's right.
Is what this message is. And he has a quote, which I thought was kind of funny.
Let's hear his quote.
His quote is, "There's no reason to be the richest man in the cemetery." Sorry, I said country. Glasses on.
I like that.
So there's no reason to be the richest man in the cemetery. You can't do any business from there. Which I thought was brilliant.
But it kind of is.
Well, yes, it's living on. But it's like one little idea, one thing sparks.
Yeah.
And this is why I love doing the things that we're doing, because we get to learn. I didn't know he was 65. I didn't know that he had such a hard life. He had to become he had to grow up so fast and take care of the family.
Yeah.
Which, I would be a little like, cantankerous, what's the word I want to say?
Sure.
Because you're going through all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he never gave up.
Someone's got to be in charge.
Someone's got to be in charge. He never gave up.
That's amazing that he never gave up. That's the part I really admire.
But I wanted to go back to. So the Colonel actually sued his franchise for $122 million. And you know why? Because he said that, first of all, he decided that he was going to open up his own, go back to his own restaurant. And then the people he was suing, those people, Hardlin, whatever, before they sold it off. The people he sold the franchise to.
It was a different name.
I can't remember. But he, so he was upset because he was so passionate about the gravy and everything tasting spot on that he started trash talking them and said it's like dog food. He was just really talking bad about the brand, and he was really upset because they were adding things using his face, and he goes, "But I didn't invent that. I didn't authorize that."
Yeah.
And then that's where he actually regretted selling the company. Yeah. Because then he's he was being a spokesperson. Yeah. He had a seat. They gave him a seat on the board when he sold it. Right. But then he's like, I don't have control. Yeah. And he was so passionate about making sure that everybody, the quality, that he sued him. Yeah. And then what they decided to do, because he was bringing up his own little, he called them a bunch of booze hounds, and that the gravy was slop. And so he was doing his own little restaurant. I know, his own little restaurant, and I forget the name of it. It was named after the last wife that he had. Aww. It was a diner. And so what they did, the company said, okay, quit slandering us. We'll let you have your little restaurant. We don't care, whatever. Settled in court for $1 million.
Okay, good.
And then we'll ensure that we're doing good quality, not smearing your name, and making sure it would have the standards that you would want.
Good for him.
Yeah, so he was an advocate for it not going down the hill. And we see that all the time.
Oh, we do. Absolutely.
It starts off one way.
Yeah.
And then I know that in so many different like bakery goods, cookies. I'm like, Fig Newtons is one.
I know.
Sorry, Fig Newton Company. I think that's the
Nabisco.
Hey,
I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, no. I just used to, it's just my personal, so I can say that. I just used to love the way it tastes. Now, it could be my taste buds have changed.
And they do.
But it just, to me, they just don't have the same
taste,
texture, and taste.
They tweak that.
Yeah, they tweak that, and they probably tweak that, I will say, because of like, we've got to change it like for maybe the sugar content and chemical. So it could be good reasons why they changed it. But you grew up like, this still tastes the same, people. Okay. So anyway, so that's my hats off to you, Mr. Colonel Harlan David Sanders.
Yeah.
And let him be an inspiration for all of you guys.
And eat his chicken. I'm going to eat it after.
Yes. So. But anyway, so there you go.
So
you got some great
quotes.
That
was a really good story. Cool? Yeah. And you're right. All these research that we're doing, we're learning so much. It's fabulous. Yeah. And
truly, I am not fluffing. I'm not bullying. This brings back so many warm, fuzzy memories. Nice. I can still see us sitting on Division Street at our table and fighting for the chicken.
That's nice.
So
I remember eating it with my grandparents in Virginia. I loved it. I did.
It just brings back memories.
It does. It's good memories.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Like
what do you got?
McDonald's or A&W root beer.
BJ's, like the big boys. He had the big giant. It was a big giant. Boy.
I guess every country.
Yeah, we all have our own little restaurants.
Every country, I imagine, has their own, icon, legend.
Exactly.
Okay, that was really
good. Squirreled a little bit, people. Sorry.
No, really great story. I love that. I don't know if I could ever top this one.
Oh, yeah.
This is amazing.
It's all good.
Anyway, so today's quotes, we're doing some riff on quotes. You have to do what is right for yourself. Nobody else is walking in your shoes. And that's true. People can tell you all day long what to do. But the point is you got to do what you got to do.
That sounds like so true. That's spot on. Yeah. Nothing more to add to that. It's just right up.
It is what it is. I don't have to riff too much on that one. The second quote, that was from Positive Energy _+ at Instagram, which we love. And so is this one. I know. And it could be this one. It's that small print. And I said I was going to blow it up, and I didn't.
That was my fault.
It's from Lori Desheen. You don't have to be positive all the time. It's perfectly okay to feel sad, angry, annoyed, frustrated, scared, or anxious. Having feelings doesn't make you a negative person. It makes you human. And I think we forget that. We don't allow people to have their feelings. I remember when I used to first have arguments with my husband, I'd be like, don't take away my feelings. These are my feelings. Yeah. And I'm going to express them right now. Because sometimes people want to shut you down. Like, you're not allowed to be angry. You're not allowed to be sad or annoyed or frustrated or scared. But yes, you are.
You are.
You're a human being. We're not robots, people. We're going to express ourselves. It's going to come out. It's going to manifest one way or the other. So
I think that
let people be human.
Like a generational thing, because I remember back in the day growing up that
it's true.
You weren't, you couldn't say certain things. You weren't allowed to express your feelings.
Well, and
which is really sad.
It's really sad. Well, in today's world, though, it's taken it a step further.
Yeah.
Today's times, I should say, because now everything's so politically correct that I could offend people in one paragraph without meaning to.
Yeah.
And it would be an accident, like my daughter's generation. I remember I'd say something and she'd be like, you can't say that. You can't say that. You can't. And it's like, okay, let me rethink this. Like, I really have to be careful of how I phrase everything now.
I wish we could go back to where it's like everybody has a right to speak what's on their mind. But it's, well, no, I mean, it's like, you're not meaning like I've said things. And certain, I won't say those phrases now, but certain things I would say, and it was, it's because our times have changed.
Yes.
But it's not meaning that we're being disrespectful because it was used in a whole different context.
It was.
That's the challenge. It's because words have changed their meanings or their picture that to now you would say something and someone's like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And you know, it's like,
well, people get hung up on semantics. And you know what? It's okay. But at the same time, I have a thought. Let's give people some grace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. We need to express, we need to be healthy.
Yeah.
We don't want to be stifled.
No, we don't.
And we're never, we're just going to sit there and stew it around. So, no, great quotes. I love those. Those are great.
Me too. Anyway.
Well, super.
What a great morning.
Yeah.
Chicken.
I had chicken for breakfast. Why not?
Oh,
they do chicken and waffles, which I've never done that yet. But
that is so good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I've never had that.
I would have never tried it, but my daughter was obsessed with it. So every time we get to go to a fancy restaurant or something, or even a hole-in-the-wall restaurant, we'd order the chicken and waffles.
Oh, wow. I'll have to try that.
And I tried to make it at home, but it was never as good.
It's never as good as those little diners. Yeah. That's one thing. We need to go travel and hit all those little diners. That would be fun. That would be fun. So if you want to email us, you can reach us at coffeeandapodcast, 3 @gmail.com. This is you. Anyway, thank you so much. We'd love to hear your comments or your story, if you have any stories. And if you have any additional information that we didn't cover.
Little fun facts.
On the kernel, I would love to hear that. Little fun facts would be great. I got chicken
everywhere.
Nuggets everywhere. But anyway, we thank you for being a part of our morning. And you guys go make it a great day. And until next time.
And be kind to each other.
Yep. Ciao.
Thank you.